The girl and the snow. The night was cold and silent. Snow fell slowly over the small human village. Every roof was covered in white. Every light inside the homes flickered softly through frozen windows. Far away from the lights, a little girl named Lena walked alone down a narrow path. She was carrying a small lantern in her hand, her red scarf fluttering in the wind. Her boots made tiny prints in the snow as she walked toward the edge of the forest. She wasn't supposed to be out this late. Her parents were asleep. But she had heard something. A strange sound that didn't belong to the forest. It wasn't the wind, it wasn't an animal. It was soft and broken, like a cry. Lena stopped and listened. There it was again, a faint whimper. Something alive, scared and weak. Her heart started to beat faster. She followed the sound deeper into the woods. The snow grew thicker and the cold bit her fingers. The lantern light danced across the trees, showing nothing but white fog and shadows. Then she saw it. A faint blue glow coming from behind a pile of fallen branches. She pushed the snow aside and gasped. A small metal pod was lying half buried in the ground. Its side cracked open, steam rising into the freezing air. Inside the pod was something she had never seen before. It was a baby, but not a human one. Its skin was pale silver, smooth like glass, and its eyes were large and faintly glowing blue. It was shaking, its tiny arms clutching a torn piece of metal like a blanket. Lena's fear melted away in a second. The baby was crying softly, painfully. Its breath came in small, shaky gasps. She could see the cold biting into its fragile body. Without thinking, Lena took off her own blanket, the one her mother had given her. She wrapped it around the alien child, whispering softly, "It's okay, don't cry. I got you." The baby's trembling slowed. Its glowing eyes blinked weakly, then focused on her face. It made a tiny sound, half whimper, half word, and reached its small hand toward her cheek. Lena froze, then smiled. She didn't understand why, but she felt something deep inside her chest, like warmth pushing against the cold. She picked the baby up carefully, holding it close to her body to share her heat. Snowflakes fell on her hair as she whispered, "You're safe now," but far above her, high beyond the clouds, a red light blinked in the darkness. A hovering drone drifted silently, scanning the ground below. It focused on the small figure of the girl and the glowing baby in her arms. The drone recorded everything, her face, her voice, the moment she wrapped the alien child in her blanket. Then it disappeared into the sky, vanishing without a sound. Lena didn't see it. She only felt the baby's soft breathing against her chest. She turned back toward the village, her small footprints the only sign of life in the endless white snow. The baby whimpered again, a strange blue mist escaping from its lips. Lena looked down and saw the blanket glowing faintly where it touched the creature's skin. For a second, she thought she was imagining it. Then she heard it, and a soft hum, almost like a lullaby, coming from the pod behind her. The machine that had crashed began to spark and fade, strange symbols flashing on its surface. Then turning dark, Lena didn't wait to see more. She ran toward her home, clutching the baby tighter. Her breath came fast. Her cheeks burned from the cold, but she didn't stop. When she reached her small wooden house, she slipped inside quietly, shutting the door behind her. She placed the baby on her bed and covered it with blankets. The creature's glow dimmed, then steadied, its breathing soft and even. Lena sat beside it, staring in wonder. "Where did you come from?" she whispered. The baby only blinked slowly and made a soft sound, something like a sigh. Outside, the wind howled across the frozen fields, carrying faint echoes, not human, not natural. Somewhere in the distance, a beam of red light swept across the trees. Searching, Lena's dog began to bark, sensing movement beyond the window. She peeked outside but saw nothing, only falling snow and shadows. She closed the curtains quickly and returned to the bed. The baby's hand reached out again, resting on her arm. The glow brightened slightly, and for a moment, Lena felt warmth, not from the fire, not from her blanket, but from something inside the creature itself. She smiled again, whispering, "It's okay. You're not alone anymore." In the night sky above Earth, far beyond human eyes, alien ships moved silently between the stars. One of them received the recording from the drone. The screen showed a small human girl holding their lost infant, the royal heir of a faraway world. The alien commander leaned forward, his voice cold and sharp. "Find that child," he ordered. "Erase everything." But down on Earth, Lena had no idea what kind of storm she had just started. She only knew that somewhere in this quiet night, she had saved a life, And that single act of kindness would be remembered across the galaxy for generations to come. The search begins morning came slowly. The first light touched the snow-covered roofs, and the village was quiet again. Lena woke up with a start, remembering the strange dream she thought she had. The glowing baby, the broken pod, the red light in the sky. But when she turned to her bed, she saw it was no dream. The alien baby was still there, lying quietly under her blanket. Its skin was no longer blue, but pale silver. Its eyes closed, breathing calm and steady. For a moment, it looked almost human. Lena smiled softly and whispered, "You're still here." She touched its tiny hand and felt warmth, not cold like before. The baby made a small sound, something between a hum and a sigh. Suddenly, her door creaked open. Her mother stood there, her eyes wide in shock. "Lena, what is that?" she whispered. Lena froze, trying to cover the baby with the blanket, but it was too late. The glow under the fabric was faint but real. Her father came in behind her mother, his face hard and serious. "Where did you get this?" he asked. His voice was not angry, just afraid. Lena's lips trembled. "I found it in the woods. It was freezing. I couldn't leave it there." Her father knelt beside the bed, staring at the creature. "It's not human," he whispered. "Lena, this is dangerous." Her mother's hands shook as she whispered, "Maybe it's sick. Maybe it's radioactive or something." But then the baby opened its eyes, glowing soft blue, filled with innocence and fear. The light reflected on their faces, and for a moment no one moved. The baby reached out, touching Lena's hand again. The glow spread faintly over her skin. Warm and gentle, Lena's mother gasped. But instead of burning or hurting, the light faded away like mist. Her father looked at his daughter, seeing how she held the creature close. "All right," he said quietly. "Just for now, we keep it hidden. No one needs to know." Outside, in the sky above, the alien search ships moved closer to Earth's surface, invisible to radar, scanning every signal, every heat trace. One of them detected the remains of the crashed pod. On the alien command bridge, Captain Voran stood tall, his silver armor reflecting the starlight. "The Royal escape pod has been located," a soldier reported. "But the infant is gone." Voran's eyes narrowed. "Gone?" he hissed. "Impossible. That child is the last of the Imperial line." "The human world may have found it," the soldier said nervously. "They might be hiding it." Voran's voice turned cold. "Then burn their hiding places." Down in the village, strange things started to happen. The wind carried a faint metallic hum. The snow began to melt in circular patterns, and birds fled the trees in panic. Lena's father noticed it first. "Something's coming," he said, pulling the curtains. "We need to stay inside." That night, a thunderous sound broke the silence. A column of red light fell from the sky, striking the forest where Lena had found the pod. The ground shook and fire spread quickly through the trees. Lena ran to the window, her heart pounding. She could see the glow of fire against the dark clouds. "They're looking for it," she whispered, holding the baby close. "They're looking for you." Her father rushed to the door, but the air outside was filled with strange buzzing, like a swarm of insects made of metal. Small flying machines hovered above the trees. Scanning the ground, he whispered, "They're not human." Inside the house, the alien baby began to cry softly, the same sound that had first called Lena into the forest. Only this time, the sound seemed to carry energy, a low pulse that made the windows shake. The machines outside paused, their red sensors flickering. The baby's cry grew stronger, louder, filled with strange tones like music, and the flying drones began to fall one by one, their lights dying out in the snow. Lena's parents stared in shock. The baby had stopped crying and now looked calm again. Its tiny hand glowing faintly, her father whispered, "It's protecting us," but far above, the alien commander saw everything. "They've activated the child," Voran said coldly. "Prepare the ground forces. I want that planet silent by dawn. Back on Earth." Lena's family hid in their cellar, keeping the baby safe. The fire from the forest had reached the edge of the village. People screamed and ran, no one understanding what was happening. Lena looked at the child in her arms, its eyes now glowing brighter. "Who are you?" she whispered. "Why are they after you?" The baby only looked up, blinking slowly, and then for the first time it spoke. A single word in a soft, alien voice. "Home." Lena froze, the word echoing in her mind even though she didn't know its meaning. Somehow she felt it, the fear, the loss, the loneliness. She held the baby tighter and whispered, You're safe here, I promise. But deep in the sky, warships began to gather. Red lights blinked like stars ready to burn. Humanity didn't know it yet, but the act of one little girl was about to decide the fate of two worlds. The search had begun, and it would not end until either the child or an entire planet was gone. When the stars burned, the world changed overnight. What began as one small crash in a quiet forest had now reached the screens of governments and satellites across Earth. Strange energy waves came from the same region where the pod had fallen. Every nation wanted to know what it was, but no one imagined that the signal they were tracing was not just from a machine. It was from a child, the same alien infant Lena had saved. Inside the cellar, Lena sat close to her mother. Holding the baby in her arms, the room was lit only by a single lantern. The baby's soft glow painted the walls in blue light. Calm but alive, her father was upstairs watching the sky. "They're back," he whispered to himself, through the frost-covered window. He saw them, moving lights high above the clouds. Silent, cold, like red stars crawling across the heavens. At first, the world thought it was just satellites. But then one of them fired. A beam of red energy shot down and destroyed a communications tower near the coast. The explosion was seen from hundreds of miles away. The alien fleet had arrived. Across the planet, panic spread, people ran, soldiers mobilized. Radio waves filled with static and fear. The aliens sent one message to every frequency, every screen, every device. Their voice was cold and strange, but clear enough to be understood. Return the royal heir or face extinction. No one knew what royal heir meant, but the demand was clear. Governments tried to respond, but the aliens ignored them. They were not interested in talking, only in retrieving what they had lost, deep underground. Lena's father listened to the message on the old radio. His hand shook. "They're talking about it," he said softly, pointing to the baby. "They want him back." Lena looked down at the tiny creature sleeping peacefully. "But they left him to die," she said. "Why should we give him back to them?" The baby stirred. Sensing her fear, its eyes opened, glowing brighter, and the room filled with a gentle hum. The lantern flickered, the radio stopped working, and the air felt heavy with invisible energy. Outside, soldiers moved through the snow-covered fields, searching for survivors. The forest had turned into a black wasteland of burned trees and glowing ash. But in the center of the destruction, one thing still stood untouched: the exact spot where Lena had first found the baby. From orbit, the alien flagship scanned that location, finding traces of human life leaving the crash site. They followed the trail directly toward the village. "Prepare descent," Captain Voren ordered, his voice echoing through the metallic hall. "If they will not return him, we will take him by force back in the cellar." Lena suddenly felt the ground tremble. The sound of thunder filled the night. But it wasn't thunder, and it was engines. Hundreds of them shaking the air. Her father shouted, "Get down!" As a blinding red light passed over their house, the roof cracked, windows shattered. The baby cried out, and that cry changed everything. A pulse of blue energy burst from its tiny body, spreading through the air like ripples in water. The fire outside turned to ash. The falling debris froze in midair, and the alien drones above the village lost control, crashing into the snow one after another. From the alien flagship, alarms blared. "Unknown interference detected," shouted the operators. "Energy levels off the scale." Captain Voren stared at the readings, his cold expression fading into disbelief. "The air has awakened," he said slowly, "and it has chosen them." On Earth, the pulse spread beyond the village. Through the clouds and up into orbit for the first time, human satellites captured clear images of the alien ships, hundreds of them, sleek, black and silent, hovering like ghosts above the planet. Every major power realized this was not a normal invasion. It was a war of something more, a war between humanity's heart and alien pride. In a secret government base, scientists studied the strange signals coming from the impact zone. "The energy signature is unlike anything we know," one said. "It's alive." A general stared at the data. "Alive?" "Yes," the scientist whispered. "It's coming from a living being. Possibly a child." The general leaned forward. "Then we protect it, whatever it is, it's ours now." Back in the cellar, the baby stopped glowing and fell asleep again. Exhausted, Lena looked at it and whispered, "You saved us." Her mother held her close, tears in her eyes. "You did the right thing." Lena, you saved him and he saved us above them in orbit. The alien commander clenched his fists. They dare to keep the heir of the Empire, he growled. Prepare the fleet for planetary cleansing. But in that same moment, across every satellite and military screen on Earth, an image appeared, the image of a small glowing child, resting in the arms of a human girl. The signal came from nowhere, yet it spread everywhere, and in that single moment, the whole world saw the truth. Humanity realized what the aliens wanted, but they also saw what the child had done. He had saved a human village, not destroyed it. For the first time in history, every nation agreed on one thing. They would not surrender the child. They would stand together, and thus, without knowing it, Lena, the little girl who followed a cry in the snow, had just united all of humanity under one promise: to protect the child who had once fallen from the stars, and to show the galaxy what it truly meant to be human. Humanity stand. The message spread faster than fire. Every screen, every device, every station on Earth showed the same image: a human girl holding a glowing alien baby, her small arms around him, her eyes filled with kindness. The entire planet watched in silence. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then a news anchor whispered, "That's what they're afraid of. Kindness." In the highest military base beneath the mountains, the world's leaders gathered. For the first time, every nation sat at one table, old enemies side by side. General Ares, commander of the Terran Defense Network, slammed his hand on the table. "They threaten to erase us," he said. "They demand we hand over a baby that saved one of our own villages." Another officer replied, "We can't fight their fleet, their ships are like floating cities." But the general only smiled. "We won't fight for power," he said. "We'll fight for that girl." Around the world, humans began to act. Engineers worked without rest. Old weapons were pulled from storage and new ones were born from forgotten blueprints. Humanity had always feared the stars, but now they prepared to rise toward them. Lena and her family were moved from the village by Terran soldiers to a secret underground base. The journey was long and silent. The baby, now calm, stared through the small window of the transport vehicle, watching the snowy fields fade into the horizon. When they arrived, Lena was amazed. Massive steel doors opened to reveal a hidden city underground. Glowing screens, armored vehicles, and hundreds of people working day and night. A kind scientist named Dr. Evelyn smiled at Lena. "You saved more than a life, child," she said softly. "You saved humanity's soul." Lena held the alien baby close. "His name is Star," she said quietly. "He's not dangerous," Dr. Evelyn nodded. "We know, Lena. But they'll come for him again, and this time, they won't stop." Above Earth, the alien fleet darkened the skies. Thousands of ships formed a wall of red light. Their leader, Captain Voran, stood on the command deck, his eyes burning with fury. "Humans," he hissed. "They defy the Empire." An aide bowed his head. "They have gathered their fleets, sir." "Let them," Voran said coldly. "They think courage will save them. But soon their oceans will boil. Their skies will burn." Back on Earth. Inside the Terran command room, alarms blared. The global defense system was now online for the first time in history. The old nations had merged into one, the United Terran Alliance. General Ares stood before the large screen showing the alien fleet. "They call us savages," he said. "They call us weak." He turned to his officers. "Then let's show them what weakness can do when it stands together." Every city prepared. Giant launch silos opened. Orbit cannons powered up, and the sky filled with Terran fighters rising toward space. Humanity was no longer running. They were standing. Meanwhile, in the underground base, Lena felt the ground rumble. Star woke up, his glowing eyes watching the ceiling as if he could see through it. He reached out a small hand and the lights around him flickered. Dr. Evelyn watched the monitors. "He's reacting to something, maybe the fleet," she said. Suddenly the baby spoke again, his voice calm and echoing. "They come from me," Lena whispered. "We won't let them take you." Outside, the sky turned red. Alien ships began to descend through the atmosphere. Lightning storms followed their path. Terran fighters rose to meet them. Missiles streaked through the clouds, and the first battle of Earth's orbit began. The air shook as fire and metal clashed in the heavens down below. Every human watched the same broadcast. Alien ships burning in the upper atmosphere. Others falling into the sea. It was terrifying, but also beautiful. Humanity was fighting as one. On the alien bridge, Voran shouted, "How can they resist this long?" His officer replied, "Their unity. It's unnatural," Voron growled. "End it. Destroy their capital." He didn't know the baby star had already linked with Earth's defense systems. His energy pulsed through the network like living light, guiding missiles, shielding soldiers, empowering machines in the Terran command room. Scientists stared in shock. "Something's inside the system, helping us," one said. "It's him," the general smiled. "Then let him fight with us." In space, the alien fleet began to falter, their targeting systems failing, communication breaking. One ship after another fell silent. Back in the underground base, Lena held Star tightly. The baby's glow grew stronger. Spreading across the room, his voice echoed softly. "I don't want to hurt them," Lena whispered. "Then help them see." He nodded, and the light spread further, moving up through the walls, reaching into the sky, connecting to both fleets, human and alien. For one brief moment, the battlefield froze. Missiles stopped mid-flight, engines went quiet. Every screen across both fleets showed the same image. The girl holding the alien child, her face calm and full of hope. And then, Star's voice filled the airwaves, both human and alien alike. "Stop fighting, please," he said. "She saved me and I saved her. We are family now." Voron stared at the screen, speechless. "The air spoke to them," he whispered, "back on Earth." The general looked at the frozen ships above and murmured, "Maybe this is what strength truly means." The red skies began to fade into blue again. The fires stopped burning and humanity stood beneath them, alive, united, waiting for what would come next. The day the galaxy remembered, the sky above Earth was silent. Where moments ago fire and light had torn the heavens apart, now there was only calm. The alien fleet hung motionless above the clouds, and every soldier, every pilot, every human heart waited for what would happen next. Inside the Terran command base, the screen still glowed with the image of Lena and the alien child. Star's light spread across every ship, every system, even reaching the farthest alien cruisers orbiting beyond the moon. For the first time, the galaxy listened. Star floated from Lena's arms, his small body surrounded by a gentle blue light, his eyes no longer afraid but ancient, wise. Full of peace, he spoke softly, and his voice carried to every corner of the sky. "You called them monsters," he said, "but they saved me when my own left me to die." The alien commander Voron fell silent, his hands shaking. His soldiers stared at the screen. Unable to move, Star turned, looking toward Earth, the planet shining below like a living jewel. "Humanity showed me warmth," he continued. "When the stars gave me cold." Lena looked up at him. Tears in her eyes, she whispered, "Come back down, please." But Star smiled gently, his voice full of light. They must see. From orbit, the alien fleet began to shift, their massive ships turning slowly toward the flagship where Voron stood. The command deck was filled with silence. Then one soldier knelt, placing his hand over his chest. "Commander," he said softly, "the air speaks truth." One by one, the alien ships dimmed their weapons, their red lights fading to white. The energy that once aimed to destroy Earth now pulsed softly, like stars bowing their heads. On the surface, people came out from shelters, looking to the skies in wonder. They saw no more burning light, no more falling metal, only thousands of glowing streaks drifting upward, alien ships leaving Earth's orbit in peace. General Ares removed his helmet and whispered, "We didn't win by war," he said. "We won by being human." In the base, Dr. Evelyn fell to her knees, overwhelmed by the beauty of it. She turned to Lena, who stood still, holding the blanket that had once saved a freezing child. "You did this," the doctor said softly. "You and your heart," Lena shook her head. "He did it," she said. "He just needed someone to believe he was worth saving." Star slowly drifted down again, the light fading around him, his small hands reaching for Lena. She caught him gently and held him close, his voice now quiet, almost sleepy. "Home," he whispered again, but this time it sounded peaceful. She smiled, whispering, "You're already home." The alien fleet disappeared into the stars, leaving behind silence and a new dawn. News spread through every world that had watched, about a planet that had refused to surrender, about a child who united enemies, and about a girl whose kindness shook the heavens. Centuries passed and the story became legend. Across the galaxy, statues of a small human girl holding an alien baby stood in plazas of countless worlds. Some called her the Mother of Stars, others simply the Girl of the Blanket, but all remembered her as the moment the galaxy changed. The Galactic Council, once proud and cruel, now carried a new flag beside their symbol, a white cloth with a single blue handprint, the mark of peace between two species that had once stood on opposite ends of a battlefield. On Earth, the old village where Lena had lived became sacred ground. The same forest that once burned was now full of trees that glowed faintly at night. Scientists said the soil carried traces of the baby's energy, but the people said it was something else, a memory of warmth. Children grew up hearing her story. They whispered it before sleeping. Teachers told it in schools. Soldiers carried it into battle to remind themselves what they were fighting for. Even in the farthest colonies among the stars, when humans met new species, they were not feared anymore. They were called the Guardians of Light, because long ago one small girl had chosen mercy over fear. Lena never became famous. She never wanted to. She grew older in that same small village, always keeping the same blanket folded in her room. Star never left her side. He grew not in size but in wisdom, guiding humans and aliens alike through his voice, through dreams, through hope. And when she grew old and her time came to rest, Star placed the same blanket over her and whispered softly, "I will remember." He carried her memory into the stars and her name became eternal. And so, the galaxy remembered the night the girl wrapped a shivering alien baby in her blanket, remembered how humanity stood when others would have fallen, remembered how compassion became stronger than any weapon. In every world, on every planet, when mothers told stories to their children about courage and love, they began the same way. Once, long ago, on a cold night filled with snow, a human child found a baby from the stars.